Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Grizzly Bear Sim's YouTube channel and welcome to Snetterton Farm. This is Snetterton Farm episode number 22. And looky there, we are in early summer. We're in the 6th of 24 game days for summer. We're in early summer and we have been quite busy here, myself and Jack, because remember, Billy Bob is out traveling in the UK. He is in the Cotswolds over working in a farm called Thornton Farm, visiting his cousin Thomas over there. And so we are sort of one man down here on Snetterton Farm, but don't worry, we're making progress nonetheless. And we did hire another a part-time worker just to kind of fill in and help us out here a little bit with some of the grass work that we've needed to accomplish, and also kind of getting set up for a little bit of a demo. This is demo day here on Snetterton Farm. The good people of our local supplier, equipment supplier and everything, got this demo unit. This is the Corona. Let me pull this up in the shop and let you see this. Thing. This is a fine piece of kit for sure. This is the Corona Primos. Let's see, 5,000. Yeah, I have to zoom in on that. My old eyes are not what they used to be. And in the store, this would be under baling technology, and it's located over here, and it's all part of this the straw add-on pack that the Aerosoft published. It was created by somebody else. That name sort of escapes me right now, and I don't see it's not written anywhere here. So anyway, Aerosoft, the Aerosoft company is the one that is publishing and distributing this add-on. I think it's about $24 and some change. Don't quote me on that. That's US dollars, of course. And if you are interested in this pack, there's quite a bit of stuff here. Let's see, that's not part of it, that's a mod. But basically from here, the Bell Collect, these two balers, this add-on shredder which attaches to the Primos 5000, and then you have a couple of bell grabs here, and then a few other odds and ends that I'll talk about a little bit later. Now this isn't going to be a mod review as such. This is an official episode of Snetterton Farm. Again, Snetterton Farm number 22, I believe, is how the numbering is working out here. And but we're going to utilize this here on our farm and kind of put it in part of the storyline. So let's go ahead and just get started. Let's go ahead and drive down, and I'll kind of fill you in on what we've been doing, what we've got going on here on the farm. Again, it's just myself and Jack here on the farm. Billy Bob has taken a much-needed break and has decided again to go and visit his cousin Thomas, who he has not seen. Here comes Jack now. Let's scoot over here and we'll give him a little honk now. Jack has been quite busy today. We cut the big field. I forget what number it is here. I can pull up the big map here. Field number 17 is our second large grass meadow, and we cut that and tethered that as hay. And so it's, let me crank up our speed here just a little bit. But yeah, Jack and I, along with a part-time guy that we sort of picked up, a friend of Jack's that isn't currently working or doing anything right now, and was available to come down and help us. And so we managed to get this field cut the last day or two and get it tethered, and we've had really excellent weather here down on Snetterton Farm. So you might notice that again, this is going to do something a little different. It's not a baler. It's actually a pellet. It's a pellet maker, for lack of I guess a better description. And we're going to pull up here to our water tanker. Now we've had to do quite a bit of work to get things staged and get things set up here. And like I said, Jack and I have been quite busy in getting that done. We might need to be on the other side there. I don't know. It's looking like we might need to be, or no, I guess we just weren't in the right place. So our pellet machine, our pellet maker, again, for lack of a better description, does require water, and it requires a sort of a molasses product, and you'll find that once you install the mod, if you choose to do that. You'll find that under your pallet stuff here, and it's these. I'm guessing that's probably about maybe a 5 gallon, maybe a 5 gallon container. Not real sure. But these are molasses, and this is, think of this as sort of the binding agent. Now we're gonna kind of take things the easy approach, and just refill these off the trailer there, and it will do that just fine. So we're full. It holds. Um, oh, he's in traffic because this stuff is in the way. Um, Lucky me. Let me pause the camera and let me restage this equipment so he can kind of continue to go, and I'll be right back with you. All right, well there, there you go. Through the marvels of editing technology, I moved the equipment out of the way. You know, had I put the equipment out here, which is actually what I thought about doing before I hit record on the old recorder, he would have Jack would have wanted to drive over here. So it's just the way it goes. Let me talk about one more thing here with regards to the pellet making machine here. And again, this isn't really a mod review. It's just kind of it's an episode, but you know, I know you guys might be interested in this. When you pick up this guy in the shop, you do have the opportunity to have him manually refill, or in other words, you would manually refill the machine, or automatic. Now, I selected the manual process just because I wanted to show you the process and talk about the things that, you know, are required to make the machine work. So again, the molasses, think of the molasses as the binding agent. And then the water obviously is part of that equation as well. And so what are these pellets used for? Well, I was watching Daggerwin's channel. He did a pretty thorough review on this particular machine and some of the other components of the straw add-on. And he thought it was for pellet or for fire or production type use, where the pellets would actually be burned for energy, and that may very well be the case, but they can also be used as a feed product. Now you can create pellets out of both straw and also hay. And if we look at once you install the mod, if you bring up your animal menu and you come over here to animals, you will basically see that your sheep will take hay pellets, grass or hay. Your pigs would also take hay pellets as part of that wheat barley combination, and then also your cows would take silage and or hay pellets. So I don't think the animals have a use for the straw pellets. At least I do not see anything that would indicate that. So perhaps the straw pellets are the fuel that might be used to run industries or other maybe lesser important things. But you can certainly use the hay pellets as feed. And again, if we go back to our menu here, and if we look at our sell points, I'll show you the icons for the pellets sort of resemble a fire, a kind of a burning fire here. It's not. It's the pellets, and then it's the hay and the straw icons. But we can sell these at multiple points. There's also a sell point placeable that comes with the mod. And again, this is kind of turning out to be almost a mod review, but you know, it's not. It's just part of this episode. But if we come over here to this is a sell point that you can sell pallets, as well as you can add this pellet haul. And the pellet haul has a lot of cool functionality that we may talk about in a future episode. Maybe the next episode. I don't know. We may plop this guy down on one of the areas that Stevie has provided to be able to put down placeables, and we can take a look and see how that works. It's kind of cool, but I also think it might be one of those things that might get kind of old as well. So we're going to go ahead and turn on our pellet harvester. Much of the same keys and everything is how this all works. And we'll go ahead and approach, and we're going to start on this end. That way Jack can go ahead and continue to haul and pick up straw, because we're not going to pellet all of this, obviously. And then we'll go ahead and lower our pickup, and then we'll approach our swath here and kind of begin picking this up. Now, this has a capacity of, I think, well, let's not think, let's actually know here so that we can set the expectations with you guys and gals. So this has a capacity of 8,200 liters of pellets. This item here, this is an attachment that goes onto this machine. It actually connects over here onto this side of the pellet baler, and you can basically set hay bales or straw bales, and it'll shred those. That's a pretty slow process. Again, from what I saw on both Daggerwind's channel and Landy Kid's channel, it's a pretty slow process. So I think anytime I choose to use this particular tool, and again, it may just be something that I use here and there and not be something that becomes a product of all of my Let's Plays. I don't know. We'll just kind of see how it goes. But I think that we will use the apparatus like this, picking up the straw from the field itself, or the hay from the field. Pretty good, and this is my first time using this piece of equipment, so I have not done anything sort of behind the scenes to test all this stuff out. If we can't figure out how to get things to work, then you guys going to see all the blunders and everything as well. We'll do a few rows of this, and then just kind of see how things go as far as the episode is concerned. And we're going to go ahead and lift our pickup up, try to do things a little more realistic there by lowering and picking up our pickup, just to prevent it from being damaged, because we don't own this machine. This again is sort of a demo model that we got from our partners, our friends down at the local dealer. I've got the pedal to the metal, so it's operating at 6 miles per hour, so it's obviously not the fastest process on the planet. I don't know about yields. I don't know if we were baling this alongside, if we would actually get more volume to a hay bale than what we're getting as hay pellets. I would assume that they would be pretty close to the same, but I think they did a really good job on all of the various functions. The pellets coming off the conveyor, that looks pretty realistic. The pellet stuff that, well, you kind of can go through there. That looks kind of realistic. I don't know if there are any other kind of moving parts and everything to this machine. Let's see, what can we see? Yeah, there's some stuff. There's an auger. If I got rid of my HUDs there, that would be nice. There's an auger and a pickup that's kind of running around there, so that's all kind of cool. And again, I have a little bit of a history with the Aerosoft company. I've been using and enjoying Aerosoft products, and there we are, we're full. Okay, so we need to hit the letter O to open up our chute there, and hopefully this will work. Again, I did not test this. I'm just kind of wanting to kind of make this episode and show you all a little bit about this. Now, I had to be a little bit selective with my as I run into the auger wagon. I had to be a little bit selective with what equipment that I chose to use, because again, if I look into my tippers, most of my tippers will work that I actually have installed. I think I'm using this guy, which was a little bit too big to bring down here, and then I think the Penta also works. It's these icons here, but I was thinking about using this little agroliner job to perhaps be able to use the auger, and it won't work. So your mileage is probably going to vary. My guess is that you'll be okay, pending, let's lift the pickup up, pending that you use either default equipment, which automatically should work, or you just have to be a little careful there in your selection. So we're going to go ahead and do another. So we got roughly one, one and maybe 80% or 90% of the other row picked up. So again, it's going to be a little bit slower process, especially as compared to square baling or picking it up via a forage wagon. Obviously, as you can kind of tell that, this has got a limited capacity to it, then we've got to go and empty that, and then, depending on what you're going to do with the material after that. Now, again, I'm thinking that we can feed the pellets directly to our animals, and we will test that this episode. We're coming up on about 17 minutes into the episode, so we're probably going to do another row or two, and then we will take the auger wagon and dump the auger, use the auger wagon to empty into probably the DB50, the Penta tipper, and then we will see if our animals will take that directly as feed. And I don't know if there's benefits to storing it. In other words, if this takes up less space than, say, hay bales. I don't know what I also don't know, and we can test this so that we'll all know the answers together at the same time. I don't know if by sort of default, for example, if this map, Stevie's map, will accept the hay pellets being emptied into the silo. I kind of doubt it, only because of two things. First of all, this is an older version, or an older version of Snetterton Farm. In other words, this version of Snetterton Farm was created by Stevie or updated by Stevie or whatever well before the patch, the 1.5.1 or something like that, well before that came out. And so that, obviously, that patch was for the can we do it on this side? Excuse my, I think that, obviously this auger wagon is probably a bit too tall for this process. Do excuse that. This is more about just the experience. That empties pretty quick, though. I've got to say that's pretty impressive. But anyway, what I don't know is, obviously this version of Stevie's map was edited well before the patch came out, 1.5.1. I know that the 1.5.1 patch obviously was needed for the Platinum DLC. I don't know if there's anything in that patch that was needed for this DLC. Most likely there could have been, or if this DLC provides everything that basically Farm Sim 17 needs. So therefore, I would think that a map modder like Stevie, for example, who, by the way, is one of the best map modders there are. Myself and Doug Zorley definitely have a man crush on Stevie. We just are in awe with his talents, and have been for such a long time. And I'll just say this, Doug Zorley, if you are not a follower or subscriber of Doug Zorley YouTube channel, I invite you to, or encourage you to, go and check his channel out. He just surpassed 200 subscribers a few days ago, and I know he's super excited about that. He does good quality, clean content, just like myself. And Doug Zorley is working on a little special project, and I won't go into any more detail than that, but I will just say that it sort of involves Stevie, or it has something to do with Stevie, and so you'll want to stay tuned to that. So as you can see, our yield on our water and our molasses is pretty good. I mean, let's see, we've collected basically 1 or 2.5 containers of pellets, and we're roughly running at about 60% on the water and 66% on the molasses. So I guess my just quick doing things in my head, I would think that we would be able to do perhaps maybe 6 or 5 or 6, maybe 7 loads of pellets on a full tank of water and molasses. Guessing the water is just to thin the molasses down, and then obviously there's some process within inside the pellet baler, and we're full again, that is basically binding those two together, binding the hay and the molasses. I'm not sure how it works. This is not anything that I can recall from my somewhat limited experience of agriculture stuff that I have done in the past, but I do know that you know, there are a variety of pellet type feed types of food components and stuff that are available in your livestock, in the livestock industry. So, you know, let's I tell you what, let's go ahead and we'll do one more. We'll gather up one more load here of pellets. Again, as you can see, it's somewhat of a slow process. It would be, you know, it would obviously be much faster if you set up course play for this guy, and then maybe brought along the auger wagon beside him. You might need to use a little bit smaller or maybe a shorter, not quite as high auger wagon or tipper if you were going to, you know, have this guy running on course play and you were emptying the pellets. But I wanted to show it to you. This and maybe the baler that uses, there's one of the new balers that's part of this add-on pack, utilizes a stacker that stacks the bales three side by side, one layer of three side by side, and then one of the new bell grabs, you can grab all three of those bells at one time and stack your bells. So if you're doing something, if you're kind of doing manual bell stacking like many of you guys enjoy doing, I do from time to time, and may do something just to kind of tell a story, but typically if I'm baling, just to kind of keep things moving along, I will do the vast majority of the bell pickup either with one of the auto loading flatbed trailers, or I will use the auto stack thing. And it just kind of helps me because obviously, you know, to move our storylines and everything forward, as you can probably understand, I've got to do all these steps. So if I want to kind of keep things moving along, and if I want to be able to crank out episodes in a fairly timely manner, it means I've got to get through these processes, and I've got to do everything or as much of it as possible sort of off camera, just so things don't get so monotonous with duplicate work. And I try to prevent that from happening to you all. Looks like we could, you know, it's kind of a shame. We got 7,500 liters of pellets. I would think, and I don't know for sure, and I'm sure a lot of this has to do with weight and what have you, but I would think that this hopper could hold another probably another 2,500 liters of pellets, make it a good round 10, because it looks like, you know, it looks like you've got these sides and everything that sort of come up, and so maybe they'll adjust the capacity of that. That would kind of be cool. That would kind of help speed things up. You know, sometimes we like bigger, higher capacity type stuff, just so that we're not having to do the same process of emptying quite so often. But anyway, so we'll go ahead and raise our pickup as we drove halfway over here with it down, and we'll go ahead and do that, and then we're going to move this guy out of the way, and oops, let him finish there. So we're going to move this guy here out of the way. We'll shut it off here, and we will stop him. So we're going to just kind of teleport over to our big cloths here. We had to break out the big cloths tractors. We got 30,000 liters of pellets, so not a bad day's amount of work there. and Jack's got maybe 4 or 5 more lines of hay to pick up there once he sort of figures out what he's doing. Maybe he's taken to reading comic books like Billy Bob while he's driving, and just completely forgot about that hedgerow there. But anyway, not a problem. We've got the technology to sort him out, and so we're going to head on back to the main farm. And again, we've got 30,000 liters of pellets that we've just produced, and we're going to do a couple of tests. I would expect the first test that we're going to do is well, it's not really going to be a test. I think we should be able to empty the pellets from the auger wagon into the Penta DB50 tipper. That should work just fine because the Penta DB50 tipper does have the icons, the appropriate icons there. So that's going to be good to go. But I think the test that most likely will fail will be when we try to empty a portion or all into our main farm silo. I would expect that we'll get the message that says that this particular product, the pellets, is not accepted there. And that's okay if that happens, because again, you know, this map came out well before the patch and all of that kind of stuff. And I have opted, I don't even know if Stevie has incorporated pellets into his map. Most likely he has not, because this DLC or this add-on pack only came out on the 30th of November. So let's see, we're probably going to need to get another tractor, and so we're going to grab another Kloss here because we can and because we have them. These guys, I think, thought they were done for the season maybe, but they're not. We've got most of our tractors tied up. We've got the black Challenger. Jack is driving it and running it into the hedges. But and then we've got our other Challenger down that we were using to run the Pellet Maker. Interesting thing, you know, I went to Texas for Thanksgiving. I shared that all with you all, and I saw quite a large number of Challenger equipment. Both the Challenger that I was just driving, I guess that's maybe the 1000, and then the big ones that are in the game there in West Texas. Let's see what's happening. I always forget that sometimes you have to maneuver the chute there to get it to work correctly, and that's my bad. So I don't know how realistic that flow looks, but again, you know, sometimes you just kind of have to close your eyes and think that everything is working the way that it should. So 30,000 liters of pellets, and we've got 50,000 liter capacity, I think, in this Penta. So we should be able to get it all in here, and there we go right there. So we'll go ahead and pull forward there, and hopefully won't bump the tires too bad. Now our first test, again, like I said, I am expecting this test to fail, and if it fails, it's okay, because again, as I've explained, the map may not be ready for this DLC. In other words, Stevie may not have configured these silos to be able to take this, or it may take it as hay, I suppose, which I guess is okay, albeit it would be nice to have it in its own category. I don't believe, obviously, because again, Stevie has not updated the map. We don't have an entry for pellets. Obviously, he would have had to have done that. It wouldn't be automatic. So we will hit I, and hay pellets is not accepted here. So that is, of course, like I said, that's the expected result, and that's okay. Hopefully map makers will accommodate this, and we could see that they would allow us to put these in a silo. I think that would be an appropriate storage place. Or I suppose, you know, build you a barn and dump anywhere, and then scoop them out with a bucket loader or something like that. So we'll go ahead and drive through this farm, or this barn, and again, we should be able to, if we bring the camera up here, because again, I showed you all earlier that the category, and that's that's a Giants thing as far as the food goes. So this shouldn't require Stevie to do anything, because again, if we bring up our animal menu here, if I go back, figure out where I'm going, sheep, hay, pellets. So we've got hay pellets. We've got 30,000 liters of hay pellets. So there we go. And of course, we're not going to see anything different. But Sean the sheep here looks like he is enjoying those hay pellets, and he is getting right after it. So let's go ahead and I'll start wrapping. Well, maybe I'll start wrapping things up. We're about 31 minutes in, so my apologies that we're running a bit late. So obviously here with what we've done, because we don't have any silo storage capacity, and we've created 30,000 liters of pellets. We don't have any place to store these unless we want to dump these either out onto the ground or under a barn. But you know what I'm going to do for right now, because I did say that I would, I might show you the pellet barn thing. That has some additional machinery and stuff in it that you can palletize the pellets. So it's kind of like the compost facility where you dump compost in and it creates little bags of compost that automatically sell. This wouldn't automatically sell, obviously, but we could then sell them at that sell point. So I may show you that, but we'll pull up here where we get a tip icon. And there we go. The hay pellets are accepted, and the cows are going to grab those there. And so I think we'll go ahead and just wrap this episode up. I'll just say thank you all so much for watching. I do appreciate you watching my videos. I appreciate you interacting with me in the comments or coming over to my Discord channel and interacting with me there, or catching me on 3 Dudes Gaming Network or PCSG, where I am proud members of both places. And watching my videos, of course, being subscribers, liking, commenting, and of course sharing all the goodness that is the Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel with all of your friends and family and such as that. As I haven't mentioned this lately, so if you are a new subscriber to my channel, I run a 100% always G-rated channel. So if you have children, grandchildren, little cousins, little nieces and nephews and what have you, and you think those guys might be interested in farm sim videos, then you don't have to worry about setting them down in front of the computer or in front of your smart TV, cranked on or dialed into YouTube, and letting them watch the Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel, because it is 100% G-rated all of the time. I take very great pride in that very fact. We're just teleporting over here so I can essentially fix Jack here as we go ahead and drive him on back to the main farm, and most likely I will finish up the little bit of work that he has to do. But anyway, thank you all so very much. I do really much appreciate it. And when we come back together again for episode number 23, I think it will be, for Snetterton Farm, we might take a look at that barn and how all that works. I don't think it's going to be something I'm going to put into the storyline at a major rate. I'm kind of thinking that I've got my hands full on running this farm 24 game day seasons, keeping the animals going, keeping the greenhouses and the compost facility going. It's playing every episode or every game day from more or less dawn until dusk. And of course, the majority of all of this is done off camera. I'm just really trying to keep you guys, giving you guys sort of the highlights as we move through. We're probably not too very far away from starting to think about our harvest and how all that's going to get accomplished. Of course, we need to get Billy Bob back from the UK before we ever think about cranking up the harvesters and everything, because and he will be back. I mean, he's only there for 2 weeks. Of course, 2 weeks will probably be he'll be back probably by episode 24, I would say. That's kind of what I will visualize as being about 2 weeks in the virtual world from now. I'm sure that Thomas and Mr. Thornton and all those guys will probably be sick and tired of Billy Bob by then, and will be willing to hurry up and put him on the train and get him headed back to the airport and get him out of the country. So anyway, again, thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate it. From Snetterton Farm, this has been episode number 22. My name is Jerry Grizzly Bear Sims. Thank you for watching, and please come back again very, very soon for another episode. Bye-bye for now.